Warning, this content is for entertainment and educational purposes only. This video is brought to you by First Detachment Nutrition. Battle tested, expert formulated. Use discount code AB10 at checkout for 10% off. All right, folks, Big Paul here today, and we are going to talk about a topic that's near and dear to my heart, and that is overtraining. Are you really overtrained? This is one that drives me nuts. And I think most people don't realize how high the threshold really is for overtraining. And we are going to dig into all of this today. I'm going to give you my thoughts and probably chafe some butts in the meantime. We'll dig into all of it in just 1 second. So recently, there's been a resurgence in the popularity of HIIT training. And I don't necessarily have a problem with HIIT training. I do think it can work if done properly. There's some systems, HIIT training systems, that are pretty well thought out. Things like DC training, stuff like JP does, it certainly works. Those guys have gotten people big. I did HIIT training for many years myself. But one of the fundamental principles of HIIT training is to get in, hit things hard, and not overtrain and give yourself time to recover. And I think a lot of bros have unnecessarily latched on to the fear of overtraining from that. And there is this irrational, illogical thought process that you need to work less to get more results. A lot of dudes think they're overtrained, and that's why they're not getting more results in the gym. And it frustrates the crap out of me when I hear people say this, because in most instances, what I see is that people aren't working hard enough. It's not that they're working too hard. And bodybuilding is a weird sport. It's one of the only ones where dudes have deluded themselves into believing that they're working too hard to actually make progress. And in almost every other endeavor in life, you have to work extremely hard to make progress at something. You have to work harder than everybody else out there. And for some reason, guys think this rule does not apply to bodybuilding, that they need to work less to make further progress. And when I take a look around the gym, just objectively do this sometime. Look around the gym, just silently watch other people work out. Just take a survey. How many people do you think that are really at risk of overtraining in the gym? Just look around, an honest assessment. When I look around at my gym, most of the dudes I see are fiddle-faddling on their cell phones. They're not even breaking sweats when they work out. Very rarely do I see people actually breaking a sweat when they're working out. They're chumming it up with their friends. To be truly overtrained, you're going to be lying on the floor, dragging yourself out of the gym. And I really do not see that very often. Dorian Yates was a guy that could generate that sort of intensity where he was at risk of overtraining. I can only think of a small handful of dudes at my gym that I would say are probably at risk of overtraining from the things that they do. And I work out at a bodybuilding and powerlifting gym where there's a lot of hardworking dudes. If you go to an LA Fitness or any other crap gym in the U.S., chain gym, there's probably nobody that's actually at risk of overtraining. Now, I do think overtraining is possible. Don't get me wrong here. There are certainly people that do overtrain. I have been overtrained a few times in my life, but the threshold for overtraining is a lot higher than what you actually think it is. The only time that I have been overtrained and I have been truly just my CNS has been fried was on contest prep. And I think very few people have ever experienced what true overtraining feels like. I literally could not leg press 2 plates on the leg press machine during contest prep one time. 2 plates. A bikini competitor is probably pushing more weight than that. I couldn't even get 1 rep with it because my CNS was so effing fried from overtraining. I've only been there maybe 2-3 times in my entire life. And you think about other athletes and how much they train, like, for example, football players, they do a 3-hour practice. They finish that practice up. They're studying film. They're doing calisthenic work. And then they hit the gym and they lift weights too. You don't hear a lot of those guys complaining about overtraining. MMA guys, those guys are probably somebody that's at risk of overtraining. Those dudes work incredibly hard. They're sparring, fighting, rolling 6-7 days a week and lifting weights on top of it. Very rarely do you hear those guys complain about overtraining. So for the bros that are doing their Mike Mincer HIIT program where they're hitting, the gym 3 times a week and doing 1 set per body part, you are not overtrained, man. You are not overtrained. Now, I do think people confuse themselves and sometimes think that injuries or chronic abuse of their joints is overtraining when it's not actually overtraining. That's another thing that we need to take a look back at and sort of peel the layer of the onion back on. So if your form sucks, if you're ego lifting and you have a sore elbow, it might not be overtraining. It might just be that your choice of exercise stinks, your form sucks, you're ego lifting, you're doing stupid shit with the weights, and you're causing a chronic stress injury. That's not overtraining. That's just lifting stupid. If you're doing multiple sets of deadlifts and completely frying your CNS, maybe you should pull back and do a few less. But if you think about it, think about power lifters. A lot of power lifters are doing their big 3 movements, their compound lifts 3-4 times a week sometimes. And you don't hear power lifters talk about overtraining. It just seems to be something that's in the bodybuilding world. And a lot of times, dudes will blame their lack of progress in the gym on working too hard, and they haven't even taken a look at their diet. Most of the time when I see people that aren't progressing in the gym, it's not a problem with their workout, that they're overworking, that they're doing too much with their workout. The issue is usually dietary related. Their diet sucks. They're not doing enough with their diet to make the sort of progress that they need to achieve in the gym. So is it really overtraining, or is it that your diet sucks? Is it really overtraining, or is it that your form sucks on your exercises? Is it really overtraining, or are you picking the wrong exercises? You're picking the ones that hurt your joints. Is it really overtraining, or are you ego lifting and heaving and slinging weights around and abusing your joints and ended up with sore joints, and you're using that with overtraining when it's not true overtraining? Trust me, if you're overtrained, you will know. Anybody who's been overtrained before knows what it feels like, and it is not a fun feeling. Now, with that said, I do think you need to walk the line. You need to push yourself up to the line, and maybe you need to overtrain one time just to know what it feels like and to know where that threshold is. But I think that threshold and that line is a lot higher than you think it is. And you should walk that line. You definitely don't want to walk over that line, because if you are truly overtrained and you dig yourself into a fatigue hole, it's really hard to dig yourself out of it. I've been there before and it sucked. So usually what I do with my training is I'll gradually push up volume over a 4 to 6 week period of time, and then I pull back and do a deload. I'll pull the volume back. I program in lower volume. I don't do less work. I still get in the gym 6 days a week, but I'll program in less work. And sometimes I take the deload, sometimes I don't. Sometimes I feel fine and I just keep pushing through. I'm also 49 years old, and I'm lifting 6 days a week and probably doing something like 20 sets per week per body part. 15 to 20 would be my guess. And I'm not overtrained. If you're 25 years old and you think doing 2, 3, 4, 5 sets a week and lifting 3 days a week you're at risk of overtraining and stopping your progress, you're utterly insane, man. You're utterly insane. So if you want to make more progress, you need to work harder in the gym. You don't need to do less. I would say 99% of people are not overtrained. And overtraining is not what's holding up their progress. There's almost always something else going on. Your training sucks. Your diet sucks. You're probably not training hard enough. You're probably picking the wrong exercises. You probably have shit form. Maybe you're going out and partying with your bros on the evenings. Maybe your hormones are screwed up. There's a million other things that could be going on that are stifling your progress that has nothing to relate it or nothing to do with overtraining. That whole overtraining thing is just in your head. Now, being completely objective about it, sort of wrapping this up, yes, overtraining is possible. I've been there. I've done it before. It sucks. You don't want to overtrain. Do I think most people are at risk of overtraining? Not from what I see. Most of the people that I work with, most of the people that I see in the gym are not working hard enough to be at risk of overtraining. They just are not. I have clients that work construction jobs. They're out beating themselves up on a construction site all freaking day long, and they go hit the gym, and they're doing my workout program where they're working out 6 days a week, and they're still making progress. Those dudes are not overtrained. If you're sitting on your ass in an office job, or you're a college kid and you think training 3 to 4 days a week with 2 to 3 sets per body part is the secret to making yourself successful and that you're at risk of overtraining, you're delusional. All right, folks, that's all I've got on this one. Let me know what you think in the comments section below. Tell me how wrong I am about overtraining. If you want to support me, please support my sponsor, First Detachment Nutrition. Discount code is AB10 at checkout for 10% off. Also, Kurt Havens has his new ebook out, The Science of HGH. There is a link to it in my video description below. Go pick it up. It is 100 pages of awesomeness on HGH for performance enhancement. Thank you guys for watching. I appreciate your support. For coaching or consultations, head over to www.anabolicbodybuilding.com to book your spot today. I can help you with optimizing hormones, fat loss, muscle gain, physique, athletic performance, nutrition, and health. For more information, shoot me an email at bigp3rd@gmail.com.